everyone. Let us discuss today's lecture content. Before that, we discussed about hydrostatic forces on submerged body. In the last lecture, you can go and see the details of it. There we learned about two important terms, total pressure and center of pressure. So we discussed that total pressure is the total pressure force applied on a submerged body by the static fluid. Now this pressure force is you can say applied on the body, or the equivalent, the net pressure force applied by the body is assumed to be, you can say, concentrated at a point. That point is called as center of pressure. So that we discussed for different shapes, for different conditions. We tried to find the total pressure and center of pressure in the previous class. You can go and check the details in the previous video. Now, in today's lecture, we are going to discuss about two important terms, that is buoyancy and metacenter. So in the first half of this video, we'll discuss about the buoyancy. Now, if I need to discuss buoyancy, so we all may have heard this term buoyancy, as we can say that it's whenever we measure the weight of any solid object in the fluid, it weighs always less than the weight of that object in the, you can say, inside the liquid, and as we compared that weight with the weight of that solid object in the air. So weight inside a liquid, why does it weigh less than the weight outside of that liquid? Because the buoyant forces applied on the body by the liquid is much higher than the buoyant forces applied by the on the body by the gases. Fine. So therefore the buoyancy, yes, the buoyancy also exerted by whenever you are standing in the, you can say, ambience of air. Air is also applying buoyant forces, but the intensity of that buoyancy force is so less that you hardly feel it. But when you, at the same time, when you talk about with reference to liquid, so when you dip a body, when you submerge the body inside a liquid, buoyancy forces are significant, and therefore the weight of that body will always feel lesser as compared to the body in the air. Right. Now, what is the basic reason? We have seen this, you can see this figure also, that let's say it's the free surface of the liquid, and from the free surface of the liquid at a distance of s, small s, let's say I have this irregular shaped body, right, having surface area A and thickness of h. Right. So if I want to balance the forces, hydrostatic forces on this case, so on the upper surface, on the top surface, and from the hydrostatic law, I can say the force will be rho f g s a. Rho f is the liquid density of the liquid, g acceleration due to gravity, s is the vertical distance from the free surface, and a is the surface area. And if you see at the bottom surface, again there is a force exerted. Since I'm considering this body to be in equilibrium, so there will be an upward force which is acting over here, which is rho f g s plus h into a. Now if you compare, if you check the difference between these two forces, so you will get a quantity that is rho f g h a. Now h into a, thickness into surface area, can be considered as the volume of the solid. So rho f g into v is the volume of the plate or solid, whatever we are considering over here. Fine. So this extra force available apart from this hydrostatic forces, this is the extra force which is available. So this extra force is termed as buoyancy. And if you see this thing, that rho f g into v, so if you multiply density with volume, you know, mass, it comes out to be mass, and m into g is weight. So this quantity is nothing but weight. So I can say buoyancy forces is same as the weight of the fluid displaced by this plate. And so buoyancy forces will be equivalent to the weight of the fluid displaced by this plate. Okay, so that is what buoyancy forces, and that is what Archimedes also discussed, that the buoyancy forces are always equal to the weight of the fluid displaced by the solid object. Right. So here in the definition is also written that the buoyant force acting on a body immersed in the fluid is equal to the weight of the fluid displaced by the body, and it always acts upwards. Now these buoyant force, just like hydrostatic force, act through the center of pressure, weight always act through the center of gravity. Similarly, these buoyancy forces also act through a centroid. Now that centroid will be the centroid of the displaced volume. Suppose this plate is displacing some kind of volume, so that buoyant force will act through the centroid of the displaced volume. Now this will be different in case the plate is floating. right? So in that case, centroid of the displaced volume and centroid of the body will be different. But when the body is completely submerged, there are cases that the centroid of the displaced volume and center of gravity can be same. Okay. Now the center of the displaced volume is also known as center of buoyancy. Okay. So this is the concept, or this is the definition of buoyancy forces. Now if I need to discuss that how different bodies may float, how different bodies may sink, or how different body remain suspended in the fluid. Right? So because the reason behind them is also the effect of buoyancy forces. Now if you see the first body over here, since the density of this body is less than the density of the liquid, fine, so I can say that the weight of this body is less than the buoyant forces. The buoyant forces are more dominating, so it is not allowing this body to fall in the liquid, fine. So this body remains suspended in the, or this body remain floated on the free surface, fine, because the density of the the weight because of the weight of this body is less than the applied buoyant forces, fine. At the same time, when we see this body here, the density of this body is same as the density of the liquid, so therefore I can say the weight and the weight of the body and the buoyant forces are balancing each other. So this body is neither moving up nor moving down, it is suspended at whatever the position we have suspended it. Now in the last case, the weight of the body, the density of the body is much higher than the, you can say, density of the liquid, therefore the weight of this body is higher than the buoyant forces, therefore this body will sink. Okay. Now this same phenomena is used for developing a lot of engineering application, like we can discuss about boats, submarines, or everything. So these are the these concepts will help in designing those applications, right? Now moving on to the concept, we have learned the concept of buoyancy, so let us try to learn solve it numerically also. Now in this particular question, you have been asked to find the volume of the water displaced and the position of the center of buoyancy of a wooden block having width 2.5 meter and depth 1.5 meter, and the condition is it floats horizontal in the water. The density of the block is given, rho of the block is given, and length is given. So right now it has been shown over here, since it is floating, so some part of the block must be out of the liquid and some part must be submerged in the liquid, fine. So this block, the dimension of the block is given, the, you can say, breadth, the width of this block is given 2.5, height is 1.5 meters. Okay, and let's say h meter of the h units of this block is inside the water, and remaining 1.5 minus h is outside of the water, fine. And let's say g is the center of gravity, b is the center of buoyancy, and total weight of this block acts through center of gravity, and total buoyant force acts through center of buoyancy, fine. So in the first case, since this body is floating, so we'll assume that the weight of this block is equals to the weight of the water displaced by this block, fine. So for that case, first we need to see that what will be the weight of this block. Since the density is given and the dimensions are known, we can calculate the weight, you know, weight is rho into volume into g, fine, because rho into volume is mass, and mass into g is weight. Same we will apply over here also, but the weight of the block is rho into volume into g, so that will be rho of the wooden block 650 9.81, and volume of the block is, you know, volume of the block is length into breadth into height, fine. So from there I can say this is the weight of the block in terms of newtons, SI units. Now from the Archimedes principle, or from the definition of buoyancy, we can say that the weight of the water displaced should be equal to the weight of the wooden block. Okay, now weight of the wooden block already calculated. So weight of the water displaced, now weight of the water displaced will be again rho into volume into g. So the density of the liquid into volume of the liquid water displaced into 9.81. So I can say, so what can I say over here, let's say, so weight, that will be the density of the liquid into volume of the water into g. So that will be the equal to the weight of the wooden block. Now if you need to calculate only the volume of the water displaced, because it has been asked in the question, volume of the water displaced, so VW, if I want to calculate, that will be equal to weight divided by rho g. So weight of the water displaced divided by the density of the water into rho into g. So this is the volume of the water displaced, first part done. Next is it is asking us that what will be the position of center of buoyancy. Let's say it is asking that what will be the value of this B, maybe from the bottom edge or from the upper edge. You can calculate from any with reference to any point. So it is asking that what could be the position of the center of buoyancy. Fine. So for calculating this, we know that the volume of the wooden block, whatever the volume of the wooden block which is inside the water, and is same as the volume of the water displaced from this position, right? So volume of the wooden block, the part of the wooden block which is available within the water, submerged in the water, is same as the volume of water displaced, and we have calculated volume of water displaced. So volume of water displaced will be equal to volume of wooden block in the water, which is not the volume of the block. Volume of the block is only some part of the block is outside of the water only also. So we can say that volume of the wooden block in the water will be equal to volume of water displaced. Now volume of block in the water, so you can say the width is entirely in the water, so width, and you can say there will be length in 3D. You can assume there is a length of 6 meter, which is also there in the water. So 2.5 into 6, and how much height is in the water? H, because 1.5 minus h is outside of the water, so h is the height which is in the water. So volume of wooden block in the water will be 2.5 into h into 6. Okay, so from here you can calculate h. Now h is 0.975. You can see this from this point, from the surface, the bottom end is at a distance of 0.975, and we have seen that what is the center of buoyancy. Center of buoyancy is the centroid of the I can show you in the previous definition. It is the centroid of the displaced volume. Fine. So since center of buoyancy is the centroid of displaced volume, now you know that displaced volume from is up to h, from h to the bottom. So the centroid of this will be h by 2. Okay, centroid of this displaced volume will be h by 2. I can say, so it will be 0.975 by 2. So 0.4875 from the bottom. I can say this is the position of center of buoyancy. Okay, so this is what we need to understood. Moving on to the next slide, metacenter. Now, what is metacenter? First of all, you need to understand the definition of metacenter. Let's see. That metacenter is defined as the point about which the body will start to oscillate when the body is tilted by a small angle. Okay. Let's say this we have this body which is floating over the fluid. Fine. Now, if I tilt this body by a small angular displacement, let's say theta, and if you tilt this body, then what will happen? This body will oscillate, or this body will tilt. This body will tilt through a point, with a point that is this point M over here. Fine. So when this body is tilting, it must be oscillating with a point about a point. That point is called as metacenter. This is one definition, that whenever a small displacement is given, angular displacement is given to a floating body, that body will oscillate about a point, though, so that point is termed as metacenter. But a more technical definition of a metacenter will be like in the second line you can read. So metacenter is also defined as a point which is at the line of action of the force of buoyancy and the normal axis of the body. Okay, when given a small angular displacement. So when you give a small angular displacement to this body, now what is happening here? When you're giving a small angular displacement to this body, what is happening here? See, the normal axis of this body, this is the normal axis of this body. Okay, but what is happening when you are tilting this body? This portion, I can say right side right portion of this body, uh, the portion of the right side of this body is more inside the water, and portion from the left side is more outside the water. So what I can say, that the buoyancy, the center of buoyancy, will displace to this side, because the weight inside the fluid of this body is more. The center of buoyancy will shift. Okay, will shift to this side. Now since the liquid is applying a vertically upward force through the center of buoyancy, so this is the line of action of center of buoyancy. Fine. And this is the normal axis. So the line of action of center of buoyancy buoyancy forces, the line of action of buoyancy forces and normal axis is meeting at a point, is intersecting at a point. This point is called as metacenter. Okay, so this is a more technical definition. You can easily understand this definition. Okay, now talking about metacentric height. What is a metacentric height? Basically, if you measure the distance between center of gravity and metacenter, And so that is a metacentric height. It is the distance between metacenter and center of gravity, which is called as metacentric height. Now you must be wondering that what is the physical significance of a metacentric height. Fine. So basically, if I talk about metacentric height, governs the stability of a floating object on a liquid. If the metacentric height is, you can say, positive, fine. So then in that case, we'll see that the floating body will remain stable in the liquid. But if the metacentric height is negative, we will say that the body may keep on tilting if given a small angular displacement. It will be unstable in the liquid. Fine. So whenever we are designing any ships, so we try to consider its we try to design it in such a way that the metacentric height should be as positive as possible, as highly positive as possible. Right? Now talking about the analytical derivation of metacentric height, expression for the metacentric height we are going to find. So for that we are going to make use of this expression again. Now let's say this is a floating body. If you see from the top view of this body will be like this. Right? So this is the total length of this body. Fine. This is the, you can say, front of this body. Now, when this body is given a small angular tilt, theta, so what will happen? The right side of this body will be more inside the liquid, and left side of the body will be more outside the liquid. Fine. So you can see this extra shaded portion. Okay. If I name that B O B dash, it's a wedge type of shape, which is additional shape which is inside the water, and at the same time A O A dash will be additional shape which is outside of the water due to the tilting. Fine. So that is what happening over here. Now because of which what will happen, now the buoyancy forces on this side of the wedge B dash will be more, because the volume of the body which is more at this portion, at the right portion. So there will be more buoyancy forces acting, because buoyancy forces are directly proportional to the volume and rho gv. So there will be gain in the buoyancy forces which is upward. And similarly, from this portion, since the volume of and the body within the liquid is decreased, so I can say there will be, you can say, loss in the buoyant forces, which has been denoted by dFb downwards. So you can see there are you can say opposite forces forming over here. So they must be forming a couple. Which is opposite to the angular displacement. Fine. So this is a couple which is opposite to a applied displacement torque. Fine. At the same time, what is happening here, when you are tilting this body to the right side, the center of buoyancy is also displaced, the center of buoyancy is also shift. Fine. And if you know that the force of buoyancy on this, for this particular body, is acted through this point B1, fine, and it is intersecting this normal axis at this point, so this is meta center, we are going to find the value of Gm. Okay, so what we are going to do here is, we are going to assume an elemental area you can see in this figure also. We are going at a distance of x from the normal axis. So from this normal axis we are considering, let's say from this normal axis we are considering the elemental area. Let me we are considering this elemental area having thickness dx at a distance of x from the normal axis of the body. Okay. And the thickness is dx, okay, from the normal axis. So we are considering this we are going to find the moment on this elemental strip. Okay, the force on this elemental strip will be, let's say how we can find it. So we are considering a small strip at a distance dx of thickness dx at a distance x from the center axis. So the height of the strip will be x theta, x into bob. Now you are familiar with this term. Now let's say if this is theta. Okay, can I show it? Okay, now try to understand one case. I have just this strip over here, and this is forming an angle of theta. Okay, So this is making an angle theta, this wedge is making angle theta over here. So what I can say that uh, what will be the position of, what will be the height of this side? Let's say if this is a triangle, this is theta, this distance is x. So what I can say, this height will be theta. Okay, so I can say it is sine theta, you can say. Okay, you can say sine theta is equals to h by x. Okay, so but since the theta is very small, so we will consider sine theta as theta. So theta will be x theta, sorry, h, this height will be I can say theta will be h by x. So whatever the height of this edge, this elemental area is, fine. So from there I can say the height of this elemental area will be x theta, fine, because we are considering this that side. So if this is theta and the distance is x, so this height will be x theta. Okay, so from there we can say that the height of the elemental area is x theta. Okay, and you know the thickness is dx. Okay, the width is dx. So what will be the area of this elemental area? So that will be x theta, that is the height, into this thickness. So x dx, x dx theta. Okay, x theta dx, I can say that will be the area of this cross section area of this, we can say elemental ring. And you can see the length of this element is L. So if I multiply area with length, cross section area with length, I will get the volume of this strip. So the total volume of this strip will be x theta dx into L. So that will be the volume of this. So using the same configuration, let's say what we can do. So since the height of the strip is x theta and you can say area is x theta dx, and if I need to calculate area into L, right? So that will be the volume of the strip. Now what will be the weight of the strip? You know, if you know the volume, you can calculate weight, rho density into volume into g, right? So density into volume into g will be the weight of the strip, right? So this is the weight of the strip on the right side. Similarly, we have a weight of the strip on the left side also. Okay, now what I'm saying is this df on this side, let's say dfb is the weight bind force on the strip on the right side, so which is balanced by the weight of the strip from the right side. Similarly, dfb on the left side downward is also the force down, force acting downward, which is same as the weight of the fluid displaced. So weight of the fluid displaced on the left side is also same, which we had derived. Okay, this weight. So same weight is acting on the left side also, but downwards obviously, right? So the moment acting due to these forces will be force into distance between the forces. So since from the center the distance is x, so there are x and the other side also, so there will be 2x distance between the two forces. The force into perpendicular distance between them, that is the couple moment. Okay, so that is what happening over here. So total moment of the couple is this quantity rho g x square theta l dx, fine. Now this is for the elemental area. Now for the whole body, for the whole wedge, we need to integrate this expression. So that will be the moment of the couple on the whole wedge. But there is a moment acted due to the shifting of the buoyancy also. See, when the buoyancy has shifted from this location to this location, see there is a force Fb acting upwards, and through G there is a weight acting downward. Okay, there must be a W weight of the body which is acting downward. Okay, so a weight W is acting downward, I can say. So this weight and this Fb is also making a couple, fine, to this side, fine. So this couple due to this shifting of buoyancy and couple due on this wedge moment of couple due to wedge should be same. Okay, so if you equate, so first what is the, you can say couple or due to forces. So Fb into Bb, the force into perpendicular distance. Okay, this force into perpendicular distance is B1. Now B1, since if I am taking this triangle, this is also theta over here, fine. So this B1 theta will be, I can say this BB1 will be equal to BM theta. Okay, BM theta, tan theta. Okay, so tan theta is smaller theta, so it will be theta. So BM theta will be equal to BB1. That is what mentioned over here. So it is written also theta is small, so BM BB1 is BM theta. Otherwise it will be BM tan theta. Right? So FB is equals to BM theta. Now FB is always see it is a component of the weight of the fluid displaced. So FB is equals to weight of the fluid displaced W into BM into theta. Now couple due to this and couple due to this, both should be same. So if I consider both to be same, okay, taking the constants out of the integral, we have been left with only x square L dx. What is L dx? L dx is the surface area of the element. Okay, surface area of the element. Now if you multiply square of the, you can say square of the distance of the element, okay, with the surface area, you will get the second area of the second area momentum. Okay, so that is also I can say moment of inertia. Fine. So x square L dx is the moment of inertia of the elemental area across the center normal axis, center axis of the you can say body. Fine. So this is the moment of inertia. Okay, now second moment of area, moment of inertia, okay, about y axis, that is the center axis. Okay, so I can say 2 into x square dA is the moment of inertia or second moment of area across the axis y. Fine. So I can substitute these values over here. So it will become rho g I is equals to W into BM. Okay, theta theta was get cancelled here. Right. Now the BM will be rho g I by W. Okay, W again I can say W is also the same as the weight of the liquid displaced. Right. So weight of the weight of the liquid displaced can be written as density into volume into G. Fine. So the density of the liquid into volume into G. Fine. So rho g get cancelled. So BM will become equal to IV, I by V. I is the moment of inertia, V is the volume. So that is BM. Now if you go back to the diagram, this is BM. Okay, B to M. This is I by V. But we need to find only GM. Okay. So how can I find GM from BM? If you know, so I can say GM is equals to BM minus BG, because GM is the metacentric height and I want to find metacentric height, so GM will be equal to BM minus BG. So that's what we are going to do. So GM is equals to BM minus BG, and you know BM is 1 by volume, not 1 by volume, moment of inertia by volume, minus BG. BG is the distance between center of buoyancy and center of gravity. Okay, so you can easily find that BG position of center of buoyancy and center of gravity. If you want to find out the position of center of gravity, this is directly if the body is symmetric, it will be the half of the height of the body, and center of buoyancy is exactly the half of the height of the body in the fluid. So that is center of buoyancy. Okay, so you can easily find BG. Okay, so IV minus BG. Okay. Let's try to solve one question based on metacentric height. See, a rectangular pontoon is this body over here having the dimensions. Okay, the depth of the immersion of the pontoon is 0.8. See, the height of the pontoon is 1.2, but out of 1.2 only 0.8 was in the sea. Okay, so 1.2 out of only 1.8 is in the sea. The center of gravity is 6 meter above the bottom of the pontoon. So G is 0.6 meter above the pontoon, and B will be, obviously if it is 0.8, so B will be 0.4 above the you can say bottom level. Okay, determine the metacentric height. So you can easily find BG. BG is what? 0.6 minus 0.4, it is 0.2. BG is known already. Density of the seawater is given 1025. Now for the expression, you know, it is I by B minus BG. BG I can find 0.6 minus 0.4, 0.2. The problem is I. Okay, I need to find I, moment of inertia of the pontoon across the y axis. So you know the moment of inertia of, again this is a rectangular cross section, so it will be BD cube, B into D cube. Okay, so BD cube, how can I find? Okay. So moment of inertia across the y axis, I want to find BD cube. So parallel to this axis, this will be the, you can say, width. Okay, and this will be the height. Always when we calculate moment of inertia, we'll see whatever the line parallel to the axis, that will be taken as B, and D will be the other side. Okay, so in this case the BD cube will be 5 into D cube is, this is 3, so 3 cube, 5 into 3 cube by 12, so that will be the moment of inertia. And volume of this volume of this body in the fluid, obviously in the fluid, because this is the volume of the water displaced also, so it will be 3 into 5 into the height inside the liquid, so 0.8, so that will be the volume inside here. Fine. BG we have already calculated, so GM will be I by V. This is I by V minus BG. So this is the metacentric height. It is positive, so we can say it's a, we can say a stable system. We will see the stability of you can say floating body and submerged body in the next class also. But right now you just understand metacentric height is positive, so I can say it's a stable system. Right? So that's all. That's what about center of buoyancy, buoyant forces, and metacentric height in this lecture. Thank you.